Hello everyone, welcome to the Red Men TV. It's the Fan Interactive Show. I'm Chris Pajak. I'm here with all your Liverpool news for Monday the 17th of July. That's 2023. Loads of news. It's all outgoings pretty much at the moment. So the big news, of course, is Fabinho and Jordan Henderson. We'll talk about that. There's a little bit of Thiago news, Caicedo news, a couple of young players will be back in training later on in the week. Tchouameni update, Florentino Luis, as well as something a little bit that broke a little while ago about Jeremy Doku. So I'm going to get into the big news stories, obviously, and that is that Fabinho looks likely to leave this week. So we'll start off with a tweet from yesterday from Fabrizio Romano. Liverpool and Al Ittihad are discussing key details of the Fabinho deal, including instalments, payment terms and more after official proposal was submitted, and that was on Friday. Fabinho's agreed terms after speaking to Nuno, but both clubs need to negotiate details before the green light. Talks on even today, and that was Sunday. I'm going to move across to Football Insider next, and they're talking about Liverpool expecting to follow the sale of Fabinho with that of skipper Jordan Henderson after negotiations progressed in the last 24 hours, sources have told Football Insider. So what they're basically saying there is the Fabinho one looking likely to move. He's going anyway, and the next person out the door will be the captain, Jordan Henderson. Both moves are well advanced and expected to go through in what will accelerate the overall of the Liverpool midfield that began with the signings of McAllister and Szoboszlai. Then I've got the Liverpool Echo up next, and I'm going to go straight over to, I think this was Ian Doyle, Chief Liverpool FC writer for them. Liverpool remain locked in talks with Al Ittihad over the proposed £40 million transfer of Fabinho. Fabinho and Liverpool agreed the player should be subsequently withdrawn from the squad that flew to Germany the following day. Al Ittihad are one of the 4 Saudi Pro League clubs that have been taken over by the Public Investment Fund of Saudi Arabia. Liverpool, this is interesting, had no plans to sell Fabinho this summer, with the Brazilian having 3 years remaining on his current deal and expected to be part of a midfield that had already seen significant change with the arrivals of McAllister and Szoboszlai following the departures of Milner, Ox and Keita. Let me know your thoughts on this actually in the comments. Do you think Liverpool need a ready-to-go day one starter, number 6? Or do you think we could maybe play the long game and sign somebody like a Romeo Lavia? I'll read some of those comments out in a little bit, of course. Jurgen Klopp, according to Ian Doyle, permitted discussions to take place with the Reds poised to recoup much of the eventual £43.7 million they spent when they bought the now 29-year-old from Monaco in the summer of 2018. Liverpool Al Ittihad continued to discuss the terms of the prospective deal, with the Reds eager for a swift conclusion as they look to press ahead with identifying a replacement with less than a month to go until the start of the Premier League season. Just on that last paragraph there, I suppose, it's rather surprising, isn't it? I think Liverpool have been taken or caught a little bit off guard here in that they weren't expecting to sell Fabinho and Jordan Henderson this summer. And I suppose what Liverpool would like to do is they'd like to get the guys in before they sell the guys. I think it makes sense because then they don't know how much money the other team that you're maybe trying to sign a player from doesn't know how much money you've got. If Liverpool get 40 million for Jordan and 20 million for Jordan Henderson and 40 million for Fabinho, then you know pretty much that Liverpool have got 60 million to play with, give or take. You know, there was talk of 35 for Lavia as well, wasn't there? So you might have 95 million to play with. But if I can work that out, you can work that out, then football teams can work that out. So I think Liverpool would probably have rather have got the replacements in first and then sell Fabinho and then sell Jordan Henderson. But because we've been taken unawares, this is the situation that they find themselves in. I'm going to go over and talk a little bit about Jordan Henderson now, but first of all, I just want to show you this tweet. It's in Arabic, so it's translated by Google, thankfully, and it's by a fella called @I_AB03TB. And he says, as agreed with the Englishman Jordan Henderson, the player will give up part of his share in favour of Liverpool FC to facilitate his transfer. The agreement between the two administrations is very close. Now, this guy's got around about 6,000 followers. In fact, I'll go over to him now because what's really interesting, if you translate his bio, he who does not trample the opinion before what he disobeyed, he should be trampled by the children of Al-Karumi. I don't know what that means, but it's a mad bio for a transfer guru, as I'm assuming that he is at this point. Obviously, people with a better understanding of where he's from and his customs would probably understand that a lot better than I. But it seems a little bit strange. I can't imagine like Neil Jones, for example, having something like that in his bio. Anyway, on Neil Jones, actually, I'm going to go across to his Substack now, which I can't show you because it's paid for. It's very good, though, I will say that. And he's talking about Fabinho being on the brink. So he says, I'll start with Fabinho, who was omitted from the 32-man squad which travelled to the Black Forest. He says the offer's worth 40 million, and Fabinho has made it clear through his representatives that he wants to leave. The contract with Al Ittihad has already been sorted, and now all that remains is the medical to be completed. So the fees, kind of what he's saying is the fees agreed, the contract is sorted, the medical is next, and he's saying that it's going to be this week. Now, what he's saying, and it kind of tallies up with what Ian Doyle said from the Liverpool Echo as well, is that the fee might have been agreed, but the payment structure and the bonuses still haven't. So whether that's 40 million up front, whether it's 220 million payments over the next 12 months, whether it's four £10 million payments over the next 2 years, we don't know yet. That's what we're still waiting to find out. Is there going to be bonuses around playing time? Is there going to be bonuses around appearances, goals, assists, tackles? Who knows? It's probably not going to be tackles, because why would it be? It never has been before. But he's saying that Fabinho is absolutely on the brink, and he's also saying that the Henderson talks are ongoing. He said with Henderson, the situation is a little different. The captain did travel to Germany, as we all know, to join up with Klopp's squad. He's trained as normal. Now, obviously, we saw from the last tweet there that we saw from the last tweet there that, you know, he might be giving up part of his salary to facilitate a fee. Obviously, to bring you up to speed with where we are, they thought they would get him for around about 10 million quid. They thought there was a release clause in there. There's no release clause in there. It's not something that Liverpool do with their experienced professionals and their players. Now it looks like Liverpool want £20 million, and Jordan Henderson might have to give up some of his salary to be able to facilitate that so that they can spend that on a transfer fee. Who knows exactly where we are with this? But it all seems a little bit strange, but it all seems to be moving. And I think that's one of the things that you've got to respect this week. And you know, since Wednesday when it all broke, and I think first of all we were probably all a little bit like, what the heck is going on here? This is wild. There's no way Jordan Henderson's going over to Saudi Arabia because of all the stuff that he's done for the LGBTQ plus community and all the things that he has said and done, and his actions over the last sort of 5 to 10 years would suggest that we couldn't imagine him being there. Right now, I think I can imagine him going there. And I said this last week when we did a Redmen Reacts to the news of Henderson and Fabinho on Redmen Plus. If you take Saudi Arabia out of it, and 33-year-old Jordan Henderson on circa £200,000 a week, and 29-year-old Fabinho on circa whatever per week are going to be leaving Liverpool Football Club, that's okay. I'm all right with that. In fact, I probably feel better about Jordan Henderson going. And I know there's the leadership stuff, which everyone will talk about, and we'll get into it, of course. I know the leadership side of things is something, but also we're chock full of leaders, and he's a 33-year-old squad player, and I think Liverpool can do better than a 33-year-old squad player. And I expect other people to be able to step up. You know, Jordan Henderson wasn't the captain in 2015 that he ended up being in 2022 or 2023, and his experience and leadership was there last season when we performed really poorly. So, you know, it is one of those things, and I think if a 33-year-old Jordan Henderson wants to leave, sound. If you can get money for him, sound. If that's what he wants, you know, I might not be selling him. I might not go out there and go, right, Jordan's for sale. Anyone want to buy? But if somebody wants to come in and pay money for him, then I'm okay with him leaving, because I think we can get better footballers in through the door. Now, the Fabinho one's slightly different for me, because he's your starting six. He's the player come first game of the season, whether you sign Lavia or not. I thought Fabinho would be starting ahead of him. I thought Lavia was potentially your first name on the team sheet in that number 6 position next August 2024. I mean, that's the Premier League season comes around, or maybe latterly in this season towards the back end or something, if he forces his way into it, because he's proved in training week in, week out that he's better than Fabinho. Right now, I'm a little bit concerned that we're not being linked with a 6 who I think can come in as a day one starter. You know, Sofran Amrabat, Mel Reddy reported, is on there. Ryan Gravenberch is on the list. Lavia's on the list, of course. Gravenberch, I could see it, but he's not had loads of football over the last season. Could you see us trying to sign a defender who's a defensive midfielder as well? Maybe in stop Trent Alexander moving from right back to centre midfield. Potentially, I could see that. I could understand that. You know, do you need a right back? I mean, there's so many questions, and I think this is where Liverpool have been caught unawares, isn't it? It's so difficult. You know, I'm seeing people in the comments talking about Leon Goretzka. I don't think that's going to happen. I think we're not even sure whether Gravenberch is going to be leaving Bayern Munich this summer. Amrabat seems to be linked with a host of other clubs at the moment. Not really any news stories about us actually being in there for him, concrete or anything. So we need to get the Fabinho stuff sorted, and we need to probably see who the targets are before we can move forwards on this one. It's mad, isn't it? I mean, we've got Bajcetic there, of course, who's a young player who's played, 20 games in the Premier League. Is he ready to step up and be a day one starter? Probably not. Is he going to be fit at the start of the season? Probably not. Rumours were that it's going to be a few weeks later when he gets back in training and stuff anyway. So yeah, I'm going to get into some of the comments and stuff now because I've been talking for a little while. Let's have a little look. I'll have to go back a little bit. We'll start off with a super chat. Thank you very much, Niall O'Callaghan. What disappointing news. Happy letting Henderson go as his best years behind him, but to lose Fabinho as well. This will nullify the Lavia transfer as it will not be enough for us to challenge. And I fully agree with that one. Thank you for the super chat, mate. €10 as well, boss. Appreciate that. Calvin Phillips was the other guy as well. Someone's just mentioned it in the comments there. No, thank you. Man City fan for a start. English though, so I could kind of understand that. But I just don't think he's that good. I've never been high on him, and loads of people thought he was boss. And yeah, fine, you can do. Not for me. Like a few good games for England doesn't mean you're a good player. Hey, when is the OG Redmen podcast this week? It's 2:00. Is it, Tom? Yeah. 2:00 today. We'll be doing that. I'm on it. I'm definitely on it. I just didn't know what time it was. Probably when we're doing here. If we were in for Rice Caicedo before this happening, that wouldn't hurt so much. Obviously, Rice now, David, as I'm sure you well know, has moved to Arsenal on a deal worth around about 105 million quid. Caicedo, I've got some news on Caicedo a little bit later on in the show. So yeah, I will do. We've got a question here from Anthony Black, who says, if they didn't expect to sell Fab, do you think 40 million's a bit low? No, I see a lot of talk, and there's been a lot of talk in the office as well, to be honest with you, Anthony, about 40 million. 40 million's the price. I've seen a lot of people saying, well, it's 50 million if it's Saudi Arabia and whatever. Yeah, sure, fine. If you can get 50 million, get 50 million quid. But like Fabinho, we paid basically 40 million for him 5 years ago. I think his best years probably are behind him now, although I don't think he is as poor as he was last season. I think he can get back to a level, but certainly 40 million for a player who's 5 years older and maybe got two at the top in him. I think 40 million's a good fee. It's just about whether you can replace him with somebody who's going to come in, and I can say it again, a day one starter is what Liverpool needs. We need a destroyer. We need somebody who's going to go out there and look for the ball, a proper ball hawk. Something like Kante was for me a few years back, but with a little bit more creative side, if that's even at all possible. So yeah, who knows? But the midfield, like I think day one, 3-box-3. Canate, Virgil, probably Andy Robertson if you're not going to get someone like a Levi Colwill in. You got Trent Alexander-Arnold in his hybrid role. Big gaping hole where Fabinho is. Szoboszlai and McAllister. They four midfielders. Pick a front three. I don't mind. I don't really want to talk about that today. Jordan Henderson wasn't in that start 11 for me anyway. So I'm okay. Again, if you can get £20 million for a squad player who's 33 years old, sound, move him on, no problem whatsoever. That's not to shirk in any way what he's done for the football club. I absolutely adore Jordan Henderson as a person and as a footballer and as a captain of Liverpool Football Club, but being cutthroat, he's 33 years old and his best days are behind him. But Fabinho was a day one starter, so we need someone who's going to be 23 to 26 years old, 200 games at the top flight, under his belt. That's the type of defensive midfielder that I want, a ball hawk, someone who's going to make you better day one. And that's where I'm struggling with the Lavia links, to be honest, because I can see his ceiling is high. I can see he's going to be a very good player, but there's going to be growing pains there over the next 12 to 18 months if you sign him and throw him in there. So that's where I think Liverpool need to sort this out, and it's interesting because today when I come in and I knew for a couple of days I was going to be doing Monday's fan interactive show and stuff, and the bite size show on the podcast platforms. I was kind of expecting quite a lot of news stories about players that we're going to be linked with, and there really isn't that many at the moment. Jacob Weddle, was it? Yeah. What about Cole as a DM? He already like stepping out into midfield to get the ball. I don't know enough about him to be able to say one way or another whether that would be a good fit for him, to be honest with you. So yeah, I mean, from a defensive standpoint, I can see there's a really good player there, but I haven't seen enough of him stepping out with the ball to be able to say he's going to be a midfielder for us as well. Okay, LFC today says, how do you know we're not going to go back to a 4-3-3? I don't, is the honest answer, but my guess is the way that we played at the back end of the season was going to be the way that we started this season. And we'll know more, obviously, over the next couple of weeks when Liverpool line up for their friendlies and stuff like that. But yeah, my gut feeling is that we're going to play this 3-box-3. We're going to have the option of going 4-3-3 at times, potentially even a 4-2-3-1. Because I think if you look at the players now, let's see, throw Trent Alexander-Arnold at right back. You could quite conceivably, I think, play. Let's say Henderson doesn't go just for the sake of this. McAllister can play in a two-man midfield. And I think you can get away with not having an out-and-out destroyer if you play in a 4-2-3-1. And McAllister could play alongside somebody else in the middle of the park, maybe a Bajcetic, and then you cover up the deficiencies of not having a genuine six by playing two there. And then ahead of them, you might go Gakpo or Szoboszlai. Szoboszlai, probably Salah, a Diaz and a Gakpo, something like that up front. So that's a potential, of course. But I think right now we just don't know, do we? And that's the mad thing. Let's have a look at this. Don't be surprised, says Thomas Smith, if something amazing comes from left field, a Klopp-signed world-class holding midfielder. So there we go. That's an interesting one. Somebody there has just said, Dave O.C. Cop has just tweeted something. Going to see if I can find that. Let's see if I can find that. What have you just said, my friend? Okay. Let's go on to this one then. Yeah, we can go on to my laptop screen here if you want, Tom. Liverpool are expected to receive an official offer in the coming days for Jordan Henderson as confidence grows that the transfer will be completed. Henderson would have his medical in Croatia at Al Etifaki's camp if the deal is agreed. So let's go over to his website and have a little goosey gander at what's been going on there. This is obviously the first time I'm reading this with you guys. Talks are continuing over the proposed deal between Al Etifaki and Liverpool for Jordan Henderson. Official offer expected in the coming days. Saudi League says, cool, late last week as reports circulate, Liverpool wanted 20 million for the midfielder. Discussions continued in the background. Didn't really cool if discussions continued in the background, though, did it? An official agreement could take place in the next few days. It is moving towards agreement where Liverpool receive a suitable fee for the 33-year-old, as we previously exclusively revealed. And Dave has been at the forefront of this, and we had him on Redmen Plus actually on Friday. It was always a case of the offer being a set price. Therefore, Henderson will have to revise his salary for a deal to be completed. This feels very footy manager, doesn't it? When you get like, right, you can have 40 million to spend and you get to spend 1.8 million a week in wages. And then you're like, well, if I go to 1.6 million a week in wages, what does that do? Oh, you get 60 million. Okay. Feels very much like this. So Al Etifaki, you've got a lump sum. The transfer fee and Jordan's wages have to come from it, which is kind of what that tweet said earlier on as well, isn't it? But yeah, interesting. Mortem Dam says, let's have a little look at this one. Could a starting midfield three of Trent, McAllister and Szoboszlai work for starting right back is easier to find than a starting six? It sounds like a great midfield three to me. The question is, as you quite rightly put it there and succinctly put it, the question is it easier to find a right back or a defensive midfielder? I don't know the answer to that question, but I think Liverpool are struggling right now to find a defensive midfielder. They'd struggle to find the right back, I'm sure, as well this late on. And this is the problem with it being caught with your pants down in terms of this. I mean, it was bad enough when we just thought that Jordan Henderson was going to be leaving, and then we found out like an hour or so later that Fabinho's likely. And then all of a sudden it was like Fabinho's basically done now. Fabinho is leaving Liverpool Football Club. Fabinho won't be a Liverpool player by the end of this week. Jordan Henderson is likely to not be a Liverpool player by the end of this week as well. Where do you go from here? Who are you trying to sign? What formation are we playing? Is it 4-3-3? We've had these questions today. Is it 4-3-3? Is it 4-2-3-1? Is it 3-box-3? Now, if you know your formation, you can probably plot your way through this a little bit easier. Let's say it's a 3-4-3. You need a starting number 6. I think I've said that how many times already today. Right, get your starting 6 in. Left-sided centre-half is next for me. No matter if we sell 2 midfielders. If Jordan Henderson, Fabinho go, I'm getting a starting 6. I'm getting a left-sided centre-half. I'm going all out and going big on Levi Colwill. Because I think he's going to be good enough to do that role. There's still no talk of a right back in this scenario. Do we therefore think that Joe Gomez is good enough to be able to cover right back if Trent goes down with an injury, God forbid? And what does that do? Does that mean that actually if Gomez is coming in as a right back, then we have to go 4-3-3, and then have we got the midfielders to be able to do that if we've just planned for a box midfield? And if we do that, then who are the starting centre-backs? Is it Levi Colwill and Virgil van Dijk because they play on the same side, or is it Konate and Virgil van Dijk? And we know that Konate and Matip have their injury concerns. So let's say Matip and Konate, which you could quite easily say are both injured at the same time, all of a sudden you've got 2 left-sided centre-halves, Virgil van Dijk and Levi Colwill, to get into a 4-3-3 because Trent's injured as well. I know I'm talking quite quickly here, and apologies. These are the problems that Liverpool have, and this is all based off what formation are we going to bloody play. And so, yeah, so for me, I'm still thinking you need a 6, you need a left-sided centre-half, and if you've still got some money, get another midfielder in as well. Maybe get your Lavia for your high ceiling for later down the line or whatever. It's wild, though. It really is wild. Jeff Denton says... Denton, apologies. Colwill, Lavia and Gravenberch. That would be nice. IPSS Caspian says, where are your glasses, mate? So they are both of my pairs of glasses are broken, so I'm wearing my contact lenses, which I've not done for a while. Certainly not on a show anyway. I've not done that for a while. Wayne Kerr says, just cheer up, Chris. It's very difficult, and I'm okay with it. I'm actually fine with them going, to be honest with you. I've got no problems. I'm just concerned about the future for us because I want Liverpool to do well, obviously, and I think that Liverpool might have had the pants pulled down here, and I don't think we're ready to sign the players that we want, and that means it could be a couple of weeks. Jason B, 499, thank you so much. Spend serious money on Lavia. How many teams down the years have we thought could be the next big thing, and it hasn't happened? Southampton relegated. All right, don't spend, I'm assuming, serious money on Lavia. Again, that's not a bad shout, like, you know what I mean? And I agree with that. Nigel just says, can you do more cookery videos, Chris? I would happily do more cookery videos if Tom would agree to edit them for me. Tom? He just laughed. That's a no, basically. So there we go. That's the end of that. I was editing them myself and it was taking far too much time, and I'm not a good editor. Alwyn, Ashley. Previously we knew that if even Matip, Konate or Gomez got injured, Hendo or Fab can cover those positions. We need to sign a good centre-back. Daniel Nketiah. Nehemiah, this week will be pivotal to our season. It's important we get this resolved quickly so we don't start slow to the season. I'll be keeping Henderson so we have at least some experience in mind. I don't think we've got a choice, Daniel. I think Jordan Henderson wants to move, and I think if we get 20 million quid for him, that's that. No matter whether you'd keep him or not. I'm going to move on to the next story anyway, because I've been dwelling on that one for quite some time now. Liverpool apparently have set an asking price for Thiago Alcantara, which is fantastic, really, isn't it? That's all you need to know. I mean, I'm already concerned massively over Jordan Henderson going and Fabinho going, and now apparently Liverpool are setting asking prices for the other experienced midfielder, Thiago Alcantara. And again, I wouldn't have been too bothered a week ago if you just said Thiago's going to go. Thank you very much, Thiago. I've loved watching you. You're a wonderful footballer, wonderful technician. God, I sound like Brendan Rodgers. Bye-bye. See you later, mate. Your injury problems are too much for me to deal with. But watching the experience of Hendo and Fabinho going out the door and then setting an asking price of £12.5 million, so low for Thiago seems mental. He's out of contract, as we know, in 2024. So actually, it's not too low when you consider that fact. But again, Dave O'Seacop, who's been at the forefront of the Liverpool news for the last sort of week or so, reporting that the report states the Catalans have been made aware that Liverpool will seek €12 million to sell Thiago Alcantara. Thiago will fit perfectly into Barcelona style play, knows the club inside out. Now, I fully expect Thiago Alcantara to end up at Barcelona. I just expect it to be at the end of this contract in 2024. And a week ago, if Fabinho stays and Jordan Henderson stays and you've got £12.5 million, honestly, I'd have been, yeah, okay, fine. Let's put that towards the Romeo Lavia money. And I'm absolutely fine with it. I'm in a complete disarray at what Liverpool are doing at the moment, and that's because we haven't really identified the targets. There's no firm bids been made for any of the targets because they're still on the books. Talking of Liverpool targets, one of those four names that Mel Reddy mentioned yesterday was Moises Caicedo. So I'm going to go over to the Evening Standard, a London-based newspaper, who've said Chelsea will make an improved £70 million plus offer for Moises Caicedo. 21-year-old has already agreed personal terms with the club from Stamford Bridge and hopes the next bid will convince Brighton to accept his dream move. Chelsea previously had a 60 million plus bid rejected after Brighton are holding out for £100 million, having benchmarked the fee against the £105 million Arsenal paid to sign Declan Rice from West Ham. Wild, isn't it, to be honest with you? I mean, 21 years old, £100 million, worth nowhere near that. I'm sorry, he's not. Maybe Declan Rice isn't worth £105 million either, but I think Declan Rice has got a higher ceiling than Moises Caicedo. And I think, if Chelsea are putting in a £70 million plus offer for Moises Caicedo this week, I honestly can't see Liverpool Football Club putting in a £70 million plus offer for Moises Caicedo. So let's just scratch him off the list, because if anyone thinks that we're spending £70 million on Moises Caicedo, I just can't see it. And I hope that I'm wrong, because he's a good player and he would fix some of our issues and he has that experience. He's probably not the age profile that I'd like, but he's the player profile that I like, and he's the experienced player that I like as well, because he is experienced for a 21-year-old, much more so, I think, than Romeo Lavia, who's obviously a couple of years his junior. But £100 million, get in the bin. Get in the bin. There's absolutely no way you're going to get £100 million for Moises Caicedo. And if you do, well, fair play. You've had Chelsea's pants down, but you won't be getting Liverpool's pants down for £100 million. Eric Seven Haag, nice. As just said, Caicedo's better than Rice. I disagree. So there we go. Caicedo needs to come to Liverpool for the same price as Lavia. So, all right, okay, Andy Ben. So we want 35 million for both of them. So 70 million for both of them. That'd be nice. Tor has just sent us 25 Norwegian krona. Thank you very much. Appreciate that one. If you got a comment, let me know. Chris, be reasonable. FSG is still the best owner in the Premier League. We're good to go with Bajcetic and Tyler Morning. Case Stavish. No. I don't think we would be good to go with Bajcetic and Tyler Morton, and I don't think that FSG are the best owner in the Premier League. Gio, extremely worried at the moment. A week ago, I was optimistic about the new season, not so much now. I'm still optimistic about the new season. It has taken a little bit of a hit, I suppose, because of this week's or the last week's Fabinho and Henderson moves. I do think that Liverpool are going to take a little step back, and I think it's a step back to go forwards. So I'm not against it and I'm averse to it. I think getting better should be the club's ultimate aim every single transfer window, and every single day of every single season. The aim is to get better, and I think you can get better by upgrading on Fabinho and Jordan Henderson. I'd like that to have been properly planned. But I do think you can get better. I do think there's better defensive midfielders out there than Fabinho. I just want Liverpool to go and get one of them. I do think there are better backup players or squad players than Jordan Henderson. I just want Liverpool to go and get one of them. And I do think there are better centre-halves than Andy Robertson, unfortunately. So I want Liverpool to go and get one of them. And that should be the aim each and every single day. Got a super chat here. Thank you so much, AJ. Big up, Chris. Are you disappointed like me that we are Henderson's second choice now? Tough one to take. So I'm at the point where I want him gone now. If Hendo wants to go, fine. Everyone's allowed it, aren't they? I'm disappointed that he'd be going somewhere like Saudi Arabia, to be honest with you, because of all that he stood up for over the last few years. I'm surprised by that still, even after close on a week. I still am surprised, but if he wants to be somewhere else, just like everybody, if they want to be somewhere else, fine. You don't love Liverpool like we love Liverpool. We were born into this, or we found it late and fallen in love with it. Like, these players, as great as they are servants for the football club and as indoctrinated as they can be into the fan base and the community and everything else, they are paid to be there. We're not. we love talking about Liverpool Football Club. We love watching Liverpool. We obsess over Liverpool Football Club. We scrutinise Liverpool Football Club. We want Liverpool Football Club to get better each and every single day. At the end of the day, managers come and go, players come and go. We're the ones that stay throughout. Ownerships come and go. We're the ones that stay throughout it all, through thick and thin. So yeah, I was hurt a long time ago when Robbie Fowler left. I was hurt when Fernando Torres left. And I've been dull to the pain of players leaving ever since, to be honest with you. It is what it is. You just get over it or get used to it, I think, at some point. So yeah, next news story then. Harvey Elliott and Kurt Jones are going to be back in pre-season training this week. This is Anfield. Dave Lynch actually writing for This is Anfield nowadays. Understands they're scheduled to report back in the latter part of this week to start preparations for the new campaign. The expectation is both players will resume full training following Liverpool's first pre-season friendly against Karlsruhe on Wednesday, and that could put them in contention for behind closed door meeting with Gareth Firth next Monday. So there you go. Two players who've had a good tournament. I think Jones had a better tournament. He was in the under-21s team of the year, along with I think there was 5 England players in total in there. Harvey Elliott obviously didn't get as many starts. When he did get a start, he got his goal and stuff. Obviously, both coming back winners as well. So it'd be interesting to see the roles of Harvey Elliott and Curtis Jones over the course of the next 12 months, really, won't it? Got another little story here about Tchouameni, and it's not really a story at all, to be honest with you, but it is a tweet. So let's do it. I've translated this. Tchouameni is not for sale at Fabrizio Romano, #Real Madrid. You understand, at Liverpool. The reason I'm talking about this one right now is this is in Tchouameni's likes. So if we just go back, oh no. Oh God, can I spell it? Can I spell it? Yes, I've spelt it. Tchouameni. There we go. We've got him up on the screen now. Let's go to his likes. And scroll down a little bit, and he's liked it. It's his second to top like, essentially. So yeah, that's him ruling himself out of a Liverpool move. Maybe he just likes the patter of the tweet. I mean, there is that. It looks like a Real Madrid fan account and stuff like that. So Tchouameni essentially ruled himself out of a move to Liverpool on Twitter. Carlo Ancelotti has come out this week and said he's a big part of our plans. You know, we didn't have the season that he wanted, but we see him as the present and the future of the Real Madrid midfield. So it doesn't look likely that Liverpool are going to be signing Aurelio Tchouameni anytime soon, which is a little bit difficult. I did see some messages a little bit earlier on in the comments about a player that I'm about to talk about next anyway, because I think this is quite an interesting one, really. It's Florentino Luis, and if anybody's seen him, the Express, and This is Anfield are likening to a young Fabinho, a Fabinho of 5 years ago. So it says in here, the Express, Liverpool keen to replace Fabinho this summer once the Brazilian secures his move to the Saudi Pro League. Let's see. There we go. Luis has suitors from across Europe following his impressive season in Liga Portugal. With his defensive strength allowing his attacking teammates to flourish on the way to the league title. Given that Benfica parted ways with Endo Fernandes in January, they certainly will not want to lose another midfielder so soon. I'm just going to quickly shoot over to This is Anfield. We've done a great breakdown of Florentino Luis if you've not heard of him before. So are Liverpool interested? Yes, we believe so. There was talk last season of Liverpool scouts in attendance at several Benfica games to watch both him and centre-back Antonio Silva. Over the weekend, Neil Jones, on his covering Liverpool YouTube channel, said Luis is a player he would urge you to look out for. He's 23, he's 6'1", right-footed. And if you watch his videos, let's be honest, you've searched him on YouTube now, he looks a lot like Fabinho used to, putting in front-footed tackles, making interceptions, blocking shots, basically breaking up play, which is just what Liverpool need and didn't have last season. Neil Jones has said he's a very Fabinho-type player in terms of defensive midfielder, gets on the pitch, gets his foot in, strong in the tackle, really good defensively. If Liverpool are in for a like-for-like replacement for Fabinho, they could do a lot worse than looking at Florentino Luis. So there you go. Oh, we've had a super chat from Imi as well. Thank you so much, Jimmy. just putting out there, been training at the gym and I feel fit and ready to go. So if Cop can find a way to fit me in my wheelchair into the new system, I'm offering my services. Hashtag Immy for captain. Yeah, fair play, Immy. Glad to hear you've been going to the gym and stuff. I'm sure we could have used you last season when we were shipping goals left, right and centre, mate. Thank you very much for getting in touch as ever. I hope you're doing well and I'll see you next year. Next season, sorry, at the match, I'm sure. It's a new story that broke about 11:30 this morning. This is on the Liverpool Echo site. Liverpool are among the clubs interested in Ren winger Jeremy Doku. Again, this is according to Court Offside, who claim that Aston Villa are in the hunt to sign the attacker. Their quest hinges on Unai Emery's pursuit of Bayer Leverkusen's Moussa Diaby. Liverpool's focus is on the defensive midfield despite their long-term appreciation. The priority for Doku is to move to the Premier League despite approaches from Serie A clubs AC Milan and Napoli. Court Offside claim. Lads, sort out the fucking midfield before you go and buy more attackers. You did this last season. You just bought loads of left wingers. Sort the midfield out. Sort the goddamn midfield out, please. I want a defensive midfielder. I want a centre-back. Then you can go and buy midfield attackers. Please. Please, Liverpool. Don't be signing Doku now. There's absolutely no need. We need defensive midfielders, especially if Fabinho and Henderson going. And it looks likely. They're both going to leave this week. So, yeah, sack that. Sack that. Sack that. Let's get into some of the comments again then. Guardiola to City, yeah. Oh, what's this one? What are you saying? Hello, Steve. Hey, Grace, you got less than an hour and you're back on live. Get some food and drink, boss. I had an early lunch today. I always have an early lunch when I'm doing the news shows. Hudifa says Verge will be full-time captain. If Henderson goes, I imagine that's right. Okay, let's see. Red Scout. Midfield will be done before Doku and all that stuff. Come on. He better fucking had to. I'm telling you, otherwise I'm going to be knocking on their door. Super Chat, thank you so much. You think anyone will come in for Hendo? Thanks, Chris. Yeah, definitely, mate. I think it's going to be Al Etifaki. I think they are going to get that boxed off. If I was a betting man, and I am a betting man, I would put money on Fabinho and Henderson leaving Liverpool Football Club this summer. As sad as that is. It's time to move on. It's time to move on. They want to go. Let them go. And on that bombshell, I'm going to end the stream. Thank you so much for joining me today. That has been the LFC Fan Interactive Show. Appreciate each and every one of you who's joined in and commented. Please like the video. Don't forget the Bobby book is out now as well. If you've not heard about the Bobby book, it's absolutely brilliant. You can pre-order it here. You can scan that barcode if you like, or you can just go to redmenmerch.com. It's close on 200 pages. It's a premium format prestige book. It is absolutely sensational. The story of Bobby Firmino, his time at Liverpool Football Club. It's accompanying our documentary available on redmenplus.com, the game-changing Bobby Firmino documentary as well. So thank you, everybody. Get over to Redmen Merch and buy that because we bought fucking loads of them. Appreciate each and every one of you. And I do think there was one more super chat as well that I nearly missed. I'm going to see if I can find it quickly. Stephen Borman, thank you so much, mate. We should rival West Ham for Palhinha. Big up, Chris. I completely agree with you there. Fulham's Palhinha. He's on the move. Seems quite cheap. He's got a little bit of experience. He's old enough. He's good enough. Get him signed, please. Liverpool, and I'll see you next time. Ta-ra.
So all episodes of Bobby Firmino, Best in the World, our 3-part documentary series are streaming right now on redmenplus.com. Subscribers over there get access to the full series. They get the full interviews for our contributors on there, including Liverpool legends past and present. And if you go over there right now and join as a Club Legend yearly subscriber, in your inbox you'll receive 2 codes which are going to give you access to 2 free pieces of Bobby Firmino merch. Celebrate a Liverpool legend with your feet up on the beach this summer in style with some cool Bobby Firmino gear. Head to redmenplus.com and join as a Club Legend yearly